To Knicks Chicks family, welcome back to another episode. I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, and I'm joined by my co-host today.
The Velox 21, what's good?
It's good to have you back on the live stream. Lots to talk about today, so I don't want to waste any time. I want to get right to it. The Knicks did face off yesterday against the 76ers, and quite honestly, the Knicks almost turned it into a game where they almost lost the game. The Knicks outscored Philly in the first half, first quarter 33 to 21, second quarter 28 to 24. Third quarter, the Knicks got outscored 29 to 22. And then the fourth quarter, Tyrese Maxey decided to put on the show and go ahead and do what he does best and get past everybody. And the Knicks seem to have issues when we face off against teams. And they have that number one guy, and we seem to struggle against stopping that number one guy. But the Knicks got outscored in that fourth quarter, 31 to 27. And Tyrese Maxey almost got them that game. He played the most minutes at 43 minutes, finished with 30 points. Kelly Oubre Jr. had 27, and Paul George had 25. The Knicks won that game handily because of Brunson, who scored their last couple of baskets. And I feel like I'm noticing a trend with the Knicks. And fourth quarters, Brunson is becoming that guy who can get them the baskets at the end of games. I don't know how comfortable that is or how we should be as fans relying just on one guy to be that guy. Am I confident Brunson can hit the shot? Yes. But I think we've also seen games where Brunson has had the toilet bowl shots where they rimmed in and popped out. They were there, but they just didn't go down, and it's just unfortunate. But Brunson did finish with 34 points, 7 assists. Mikal Bridges finally woke up. I think he had 18 or 19 in the first half alone. He finished with 28 points. I'm very surprised that Huck Porty started the game. I
Well,
don't. I guess Tibbs is trying to change up something different. He finished with 8 points, played 16 minutes. Josh Hart, not the best game from him. He finished with 7 points, 17 rebounds. And then OG Anunoby finished with 16 points, 9 rebounds. No Carl Anthony Towns, as he's been dealing with the knee injury. But what were your thoughts on that game?
there's a lot of thoughts, some positive and a lot of negative. So I'm not gonna be the Debbie Downer. I'll start with the positive because that's my Knicks. I'm gonna still ride with them. Um, yeah, I was gonna put one of my things before the game had ended because I take notes. I was gonna say they stayed poised, but they didn't in hindsight. So I mean that's a negative and a positive because they did stay poised and they did get the win, but they blew a 19-point lead. So you got to weigh your good with the bad and the good that they won. So kudos to them. Of course, like you said, JB Brunson, he came up big for us down the stretch, and he, yeah, typical, Brunson. You either win with him or you lose with him, and most times it's win with him, and that's a good thing and that's a bad thing. Like you said, how confident, do it have to always be him? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I read something where somebody said, well, he doesn't give those guys an opportunity to see if it seems like he don't to see if they could win the game, for them. Um, the defense came up big, although that's one of my negatives. They are currently 21st, I think, in defensive rating, but Precious Achua, like, that block, you know, on he did on Drummond, which he said he was trying to foul him, but it came up with a block. So he came up, big for the Knicks. Um, Josh Hart, like you said, 17 rebounds, but 7 points in 39 minutes. You know,
And very sloppy, lots of turnovers.
and then he had what, six? Yeah, so he had six turnovers. That's like you got to take care of that ball just a little bit better than that. So um like I said, they beat them points in the paint, 50-42. They out rebounded them 43-35. There's some, great things. Um, just over a nice scoring, half, in the first half, they had Philly, backed up in the corner, but a la typical Knicks, they went away from what works, and so it's like, you got to clean these things up. You know, they, they 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 won, but it wasn't a pretty win. Put it like that. It just wasn't pretty by no stretch of the imagination. Um, and this a game where Philly had no business even creeping back in. They lost like what was 8 games,
in a row.
and not because they lost those games, but I mean they had no business even. They took the lead at one point,
Yeah.
so that was like that's concerning. You know,
But when you watch a game like that, this is not the first, second, third time we've seen this at least a handful of times from this Knicks roster. And listen, people are not going to agree with my takes, but this is why we agree to disagree in a healthy way on this channel. But for me, and I said it to you over the phone, I don't want to hear any more excuses.
oh yeah, for
I
sure.
get that we don't have Mitchell Robinson, and we're going to touch on him later. But I said this to you with the Boston game. I asked you if Mitchell Robinson would have been in that game, in the Boston game, the Cleveland game, hell, we'll even throw in the OKC game. And if you want to throw in two with an asterisk to the side because they're not, these two teams are not top contending teams in Chicago and Detroit.
Oh, and we're gonna touch on that too. But go ahead.
Would Mitchell Robinson have made a difference? I think to a degree, yes, but would it have resulted in a W, in a win? And I think that what I'm trying to figure out and understand is where's the shortcomings coming from. And that I know we discussed there's a height issue there with small. The Knicks as a whole, they're not a tall team. They don't have a tall group of guys. But again, we've pointed out it's not necessarily the offense that's the issue, but where is the collapse? Where's the disconnect that's happening that the Knicks are like dropping these leads or full collapsing in fourth quarters?
Well, you got to take into account most teams have two bigs. The Knicks don't. Like, yes, I believe if Mitch was in there, I believe not all of those games, and Cleveland that was a butt whooping they gave the Knicks. Like, that margin where they lost. So I believe, yes, again, we know Mitch is not the end or be all, he's not the savior, but in my heart of hearts, I believe that they would have possibly taken the Boston game or the Cleveland game. We're not playing with two bigs. Guys are playing out of position. So yeah, I could be naive and hey, like you said, we couldn't agree to disagree. But yeah, I truly believe that they would have won possibly two of them. OKC, Boston, or OKC, Cleveland, Boston and Cleveland. Some, at least 2 out of 3. The same thing with the Chicago. I mean, we lost before we beat them. They struggled, against Chicago. Same thing with
Funny.
Detroit. So, you know, the Knicks played them 3 times already. They're 1-2 against Detroit. So, in my heart of hearts, I believe that would have been Mitch would have been the deciding factor. I can't say deciding factor, but I think would have made somewhat of a difference.
Yeah, I don't know because I hear what you're saying in that guys are playing out of position, but I'm trying to figure out even if guys are playing in their positioning, is the effort going to be there defensively, right? Because I think that that's the issue that we keep bumping into is that when you watch the games, you're like, well, where's the effort? And especially in both the Cleveland game and the Boston game, I was looking for a better concerted effort from the Knicks, and I just didn't see that from really anybody. The Knicks looked like a rag doll that was just getting bitch slapped all over the floor wherever the team told them to go. And I again, we know what Mitchell Robinson could do. We know what guys could do individually, but I think that there's the missing link from what I'm seeing is that collectively, good defense as a team consistently, right? And I think that then you have the second part of that is, well, are those teams just better than the Knicks? Because I brought this up to you like maybe 10 episodes ago, and I told you I wasn't comfortable with the Knicks playing against Cleveland because I feel like they're just no match. This is not the same Cleveland team that the Knicks has played against 2 years ago. It's a completely different roster. It's a completely different team. And Cleveland has figured out how to beat most teams in the league this year, right? So I just feel like when you watch this Knicks team play, there's the missing link defensively as a team from these guys, and that's an issue. It's concerning as well as the fourth quarters that have been an absolute collapse from this team. And I again, we didn't just see this in yesterday's game against the Sixers. We've seen it a handful of times against teams where the Knicks have just completely lost games. So I don't know. I think that when you watch the Knicks play, yes, I hear that you don't have Mitchell Robinson, you don't have two bigs. Yes, I hear that you're saying that guys are playing out of their positioning. But what's going to make that switch that all of a sudden when Mitchell Robinson comes back and you have guys, because right now the Knicks are also going through an injury man down situation. Little by little, guys are dropping like flies.
What you saying? What's going to make the difference when Mitch come back? They're going to be playing their natural position. So
So that's going to make the defense be better.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But it will make it. No, then again, yeah.
But that's my point. That's the route I'm trying to get to. That's not enough. That's not enough.
No.
When he comes back, who on this team, player wise or coaching wise, says the defense here stinks? We're stinking up the joint. We're not playing good defense. How do the Knicks step up defensively as a team? Because if you, okay, first round, how do you even get out of the first round? Forget Cleveland, Boston, OKC. You're going to play against what? Maybe Indiana, maybe play against Milwaukee. How do you get past those teams if you can't play? You haven't owned in on the defense now. How are you going to do it in round one?
No, I agree. That don't mean that the defense is going to ramp up and now they this defensive juggernaut team. No, I'm not saying that, but I believe that if so, the defense even it's going to ramp up a little bit because you got a true rim protector, so that will amp it up a little bit, not much, because you got somebody that's guarding the paint. So, and guys are not going to just come all down willy-nilly. They possibly think twice because, you got somebody there protecting it. So that will help, somewhat. It's not going to be the end all, but I think that will help slightly, not much. So that's how I'm looking at it because, these guys are just coming down and and just having they will in the paint. So you don't have anybody there to like, nah, not in my house or even on the road. So it'll ramp it up a little bit, not much. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I think also with the Knicks, you watch when they're not good man to man defensively.
Oh.
You watch when the Knicks play defense, guys just go right past the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like I was watching Deuce And Deuce has moments where his defense is really good and he'll frustrate a player. He's playing good man to man defense on a player, but then he's playing so close up on a guy that the player just literally goes right past him. And then now, because we don't have that big with that defensive presence in the paint, now he lost his guy. Whoever's in the paint has to try to go ahead and defend Deuce McBride's man. It just causes a domino effect. It's just
I'm sorry.
I see it from so many guys in on this team, and it's just frustrating to watch. So yeah, I just think that yeah, you could have Mitchell Robinson back, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't answer the root issue that we have of the Knicks playing better defense as a whole, as a team.
Again, it don't, but I'm looking at the half glass full. It will ramp it up a little bit. Again, not much, but because you have that rim protection, somebody that's going to give you those second, third chance opportunities. So that's how I'm looking at it.
I don't know. I think the verdict is still lingering on coming to a conclusion when it comes to that because I just like we were just saying with the Philly game, you can't give up a 19-point lead and then allow a team to just come back and take the lead. And then it's just like, come on, where's the effort there? Where's protecting home court also?
Yeah.
And you brought up a point earlier where you said you read something where it says Brunson doesn't pass the ball to other guys who can be that clutch guy at the end, right?
Yeah. Yep.
This is a two-part question. Why do you think that is? And then if he did pass it, who's the other option to be clutch at the end of the game to knock down those shots with confidence that you feel like you know what he could knock it down if Brunson gave him the ball and we need to get back in this game or we need a game winning shot.
I think Mikel can, you know, if it came down to it, but will we ever find out? I don't know, but I think he can. Um, yeah, I believe that that guy could be Mikel, um, possibly even like Cat, because even sometimes I don't know if you notice it, like even sometimes when Cat is cooking, he's hot. Like Brunson seems to divert from that. So that I think Mikel could be that guy, but for Brunson seems to you know and he's Mr. Clutch. I get it. All the names, Captain Clutch. I get it, but it's like at some point you got to have that trust factor in your teammates. And speaking of, like yesterday, he had 7 assists. That was all in the first half.
Yeah.
He after that he had no more. So you got to get your teammates involved. You know, you got to get them more actively involved because sometimes we know like he holds that ball and then when he's in trouble he wants to get bailed out. Like he'll throw to them and at the last second and it always don't result in a made basket.
Yeah.
So I look at it like that, but I believe that Mikel could be that guy. He was that guy before. Brooklyn, even on Phoenix. So he can.
Yeah, I would rather if I had the option who I would say the play should be drawn up for, or in the cases where Brunson is going to be double teamed and not be able, even if it's man to man, there's going to be instances down the stretch, either late in the season, teams are going to start tightening up even more, or in the first round of the playoffs, Brunson may not be able to get that shot off. So I think it's like you said, he has to be able to share that basketball. And yeah, I would want to see it in Mikel's hands, and I want to see him taking that shot. So Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm wondering why Brunson doesn't share the rock more. It's like he wants to play hero ball
Yeah,
and
and
he feels like I gotta get us the win. And it's like he's putting this own pressure on himself. I don't know. That's what it seems like to me.
yeah, and even like and another case in point. Now I don't know if this is probably probably due to Mikel not looking for his shot. He was another, although I did say I believe that he could be that second option. You know, this is kind of I guess contradicting myself. But yesterday, he had 19 points in the first half, and then he only
Mhm.
had what like 9 in the second. So I don't know if that was due. It could be a number of things because Brunson only had 7 assists, so he wasn't getting the guys involved. But then now Mikel also has to look for that shot more so, than not because the bulk of his points are scored in the first half. The second half, you had 9 points. That's not gonna cut it,
Yeah.
So if he looks for his shot more so, he could be that guy to take that winning shot.
Yeah.
More so relying on Brunson to take us home and getting that win.
Honestly, I think both OG and Mikel have to look for their shot. And I think the other part of it is that Brunson needs to start sharing the rock more, whether it's to OG, Cat, Mikel. Mikel, prior to yesterday's game, he's been in a slump.
Oh,
He's been in a slump. We've been looking for him and finally found him somewhere in the high up nosebleeds. And finally, he joined the chat and decided to play with the rest of the guys. He's been MIA. And the thing that I think for a lot of Knicks fans that becomes frustrating is sometimes guys are going to be a little off and, your shot may not be knocking down. But I don't even think that was like the main case with him. I think it was also just Mikel not being aggressive enough.
no, he's
He just
not.
was being very passive. He's kind of playing in the background. And like the Knicks didn't give up all these picks to bring you here for you to play like that. You was playing better on a losing team that couldn't buy a win than you're playing here with the Knicks. And OG, same thing. He's had his moments where he's in a slump.
Yeah, and you know what? And speaking of, these guys they definitely got to give us more rebounds. Prior to yesterday, OG had 9, Mikel had what? I think he had. Did he have 2?
I think he had two,
But then in the
one or
Cleveland and
two.
Boston game, they combined for 3 rebounds total. That you wonder why you lost.
Right.
Just serious. You 3 rebounds. They had OG had 2 in the Celtics game. Mikel had 1. That nah.
And
Mm-mm.
what I think that to add to that, what's crazy to me is that they won't get a rebound, but yet the opposing team will get the rebound. And next thing you know, they get an easy basket at the other
Yep.
end of the floor.
Position.
So
Yep.
if you wasn't around to get a rebound, but you're at the perimeter, which one is it? You got to play defense, or you got to grab a rebound. What are you doing out there?
Yep.
What are you doing out there? And it's almost like guys have this kind of like lazy mentality of, I don't want to say mentality, but lazy bad habits of Josh or Towns is going to get it. Precious is going to get it. No, crash the boards,
Yep.
box out. I see so many games and it's so frustrating to watch where the Knicks, a lot of the guards and the wings will just like watch. And then their man will be right next to them and just grab the board.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how you didn't box out? You watch the
Yep.
ball bounce from the rim or the back of the block of the rim, and you didn't even box out. And this is what I mean. Like it's things that these guys got to clean up. Again, at this point in the season, I don't want to hear any excuses.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about, well, they don't this that. Enough,
Yeah. We're
enough.
58 games in.
Right, at this rate, like come on. So enough is enough. Um, Josh Hart and Jalen was on there. roommate's podcast show talking about how it's frustrating that they've lost to OKC, Boston, and Cleveland. Jalen Brunson said, I see where we have opportunities to where we can be aggressive and pounce on it and win. The frustrating part about all of this is that we have what it takes. We have the personnel, we have everything we need in the locker room right now. We just got to get it together. The X's and O's and all that stuff, that's easy. That's an easy fix. He said the number of times we've been embarrassed on national television, that should ring a bell. That should be a wake-up call in itself, not just for those games, but just for the rest of the reason we've got to wake the hell up. I'm sure he meant to say season. And Josh Hart told Brunson he received a wake-up call when he was sidelined by the injury when he watched from home the game last Friday that the Knicks lost to Cleveland. Josh said, I think everyone should at least watch that game and see how it looks, because whatever else aside, it was embarrassing. And that's now who we are as a team. We're not going to settle for that being a product that we put on the court.
Well, yesterday's output certainly didn't. Your words said a lot, but your actions, man, spoke a totally different, outcome. You barely won that game. So, if you had all that to say, why y'all had that defensive collapse? Y'all was leading by 19 points. Y'all should have put Philly out their misery.
A team that's struggling, that can't buy wins.
Yeah, you should have put them out their misery. There was no way you should have let Philly creep back into that game. See, so you could talk the talk, but you walk that,
Right.
you got it. You can't just talk just to be talking, and it's a bunch of fluff. You got to put that play into action and like ramp it up. You know, you are 58 games in, and what you have, what is that, like 24 more games?
Yeah.
Nah.
You know what I noticed with the Knicks? I was saying this to you briefly. I feel like teams who are maybe at the level of where the Knicks are as a team, or maybe teams that are maybe a level or two below, the Knicks tend to play matchup to matchup against those type of teams, right? And then sometimes the Knicks have these surprising games, Denver, Memphis, where they'll blow a team out and they put all this like energy into these games and they play really well. Again, it happens in sports. Sometimes everything is clicking, everything is going right. But I notice when the Knicks play teams that are, again, pretty much even matched opponents or maybe a level or two below, you would think the Knicks would like handle business in those games, but yet the games are either close or we have an instance like we did just yesterday, like they played against Philly, where the Knicks will have a nice, comfortable lead, and then they have this collapse in the fourth quarter. Sometimes it even starts in the third, and then they have to fight their way back through it in the fourth. I'm all for the resilience and being persistent and coming back, crawling back into games, but it doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be hard. And I think that my issue with the Knicks is that the effort is missing. Because again, when they play against teams that seem to be evenly matched or a little lower, like when they play against Brooklyn, it seems to be a better effort, concerted effort. And then when they play against teams that are just like 2-3 steps quicker than them, the Knicks look lost sometimes. Guys look winded. They look like they're shocked. Like, wow, this team is really like Cleveland.
It's sort of like they intimidated.
Yeah. When they played Cleveland, and I'm gonna keep saying that the Knicks got bitch slapped. You got embarrassed the first time you played Boston in the season opener, not home opener, season opener. You played Cleveland, and you should know that Spider's gonna want to do everything in his power to make sure you don't win. He didn't forget what happened 2 years ago when y'all handed them that loss in the playoffs. He's still feeling some type of way because the Knicks didn't bring him over there,
Exactly.
rightfully so. So I think that there's this like the Knicks is still not balanced yet. And I think this leads me up to the question of we both know that the Knicks are in a position where, as an organization, we know it's something, there's going to be moves made at the end of this season, but the Knicks is still almost like a puzzle. They're taking out pieces and trying to put a better fit to see if that fits as far as players go. But do you think that sometimes trying to swap out players and get this player, get that player, is that helping the Knicks or is it hurting to a degree? Because I won't say it's fully hurted them, but when you do that, and we spoke about this before, when you get rid of a guy or two or you switch guys, um, as a team, you take like 2, 3 steps back because now you got to get back that chemistry and that continuity. So it puts you a couple of steps behind. Tibbs has to figure out how to implement this guy in the rotation and seeing what works. Do you think what are your thoughts on that with the Knicks as an organization, the front office doing that? Because again, we know there's gonna be some moves made at this off season.
Well, it helps and it hurts. Now, because I'm gonna give you the case in point. Prior to that trade, when we had Quickly and RJ, there was some times when they did go past the regular season, made to the post.
Right,
So that because they built that chemistry. They were RJ, he was 5 years in, then Randall was there,
right,
so that helped. And so you saw it didn't work. So now we got to break this up and start from scratch. S- Now, they got rid of Devo, which I'm gonna bring up a point with that. And Randall, they traded him for now, and they brought in OG. So you it, this should help, but you got to keep them together. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got to build that chemistry, because you got to realize a lot of these teams, they've been playing for 3, 4 years or better. So I think the front office, they got to keep these guys that we have. Even like Mikel, I have faith in him that next season. It's a shame he wasn't able to truly show us his potential, because we know it's there.
yeah,
You know,
right,
this was just a bad year for him. We you know wanted him to. We as fans, you want to see that explosiveness that he's had with Brooklyn and Phoenix, and I believe next year we'll definitely see a different version of him, because now he's gonna like definitely figure it out. He's Mr. Iron Man. He's a workaholic. As far as so I think we'll see a better version of him, but now this can help. Leave these guys together. Let them definitely go into year two, build up that chemistry. Because let's face it, the Knicks aren't good. If they
not
make it
gonna,
out the
yeah,
first, it'll be a miracle. So let them build that chemistry, like how your Celtics did, how your Cleveland, your okay guys like that. They have that camaraderie. They know the spots and X, Y, and Z. Let the Knicks get a chance to build on that. So it helps, and then it can hurt. But mainly, I'm for helping, as long as they're able to stay together and
yeah.
and build this brotherhood, where they're playing, year 2, 3. You know, it's not a quick fix for them this year. You know.
Yeah, and I agree. It's not a quick fix. I think that the biggest thing I think that for me that I'm thinking about is, well, who do they bring in? Because we know that the Knicks are definitely missing, you know, whatever moves or trajectory they're going to go as far as the center position is concerned. Um, and then I think that we need the Knicks need a wing who can score and is a go-getter, who's a walking bucket, not a guy who could shoot. We already have that. We have guys that could shoot.
Yeah, we have
I'm
a
talking
shoot as
about
well.
we need a guy who can get to the basket and impose his will. I don't care what defense is playing against him. The
Yeah,
only player on the Knicks that can get to the basket however he wants to and will take the contact and is he doesn't blink an eye of hesitation is Jalen Brunson. The Knicks do not have another guy who can do that on this team. Can Carl Anthony Towns at times get to the basket? Yes, but it's a different kind of I'm gonna drive and get to the basket. You need guys who can like what Brunson does. And again, he has his flaws, but what I'm saying is Brunson is one of those players who we see does the same thing to the Knicks. I'm gonna get to the basket, SGA, Spider, Tatum. I'm gonna get to the basket. You're gonna foul me. I'm gonna either get the and one or I'm gonna get to the foul line, the free throw line, and I'm gonna keep making my way to the basket no matter what.
yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna get fade away, you know, I'm a easy dunks, layups, or I'm gonna kick it out because you so worried about me. I'm gonna kick it out now and make you the defense work. And we don't have that. We only have one guy on this team who does that.
yeah, and yeah,
OG Ananobi, that's not his game.
nah,
Mikal Bridges, that's not his game. And that's something that this team lacks. We don't have a guy who can, you give him the ball, he's going to go to work and go to the basket. Not, I'm trying out moves because I've been working on this. Precious Achua, I'm talking about you. And this is no shade, right? He's improved his game and worked on his game. And he's been pretty solid for the Knicks so far this season. But I saw him at yesterday's game a few times. He got the ball at the free throw line, and this is where you saw you miss Cat in the game. And he had a couple of moments where he shot some nice like middies that went in, or he went to the basket, but it wasn't fluid. It wasn't
mm,
organic. You know what I mean? And that's what the Knicks need. They need guys like that. Even sometimes I get a little frustrated watching Deuce because I think Deuce to me sometimes he settles for shots and he needs to create more balance and utilizing. I've said this so many times, I'm a broken record, but utilizing his speed to get to the basket and make guys foul you on the way to the basket.
yeah, yeah,
Have the speed and the quickness to get there. You got a little repertoire with your dribble to get to the basket as well. So the Knicks are missing a player like that who can get to the basket at will. You don't gotta be fancy. SGA most of the times he's moving in slow mo, but he can get to the basket.
yep,
He demands that attention, and we don't have a guy who can do that here. And to me, that's one of the pain points that this team has. That they don't have a guy who can get you a basket. And you know what? I'm not excusing it, but I think that's part of the reason why Brunson probably is like, well, it falls on me.
oh
I'm
yeah,
not excusing the behavior, but he's like, well, who else on this team is gonna do that? Yeah, you could again. Towns will probably do it because he gonna hesitate. He gonna create a little space, shoot the three, or he's gonna impose his will and muscle his way to the basket, right? Mikel, maybe he'll get it on in the paint and a block, and he dribbles down, dribbles down. He gives you a little hesitation. He shoots the fade away. OG's not gonna do that. OG needs the ball fed to him down in the paint, and he gets the easy layups or whatever. But I just feel like this team has to figure out how do you get those type of players here on this Knicks team, and the defense has to pick up. And the other part of it is Tibbs is not off the hook either. I'm very curious what Tibbs is gonna do. Shout out to Queen. I heard her say this on her last show. She was saying how Tibbs needs to tread lightly and move very carefully how he implements Mitchell Robinson into the lineup.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
Only because he's fragile, but like I think just distributing the minutes and utilizing guys and putting them in. Tibbs is you're under the scope either as well with the Knicks. I
yeah,
want to see how Tibbs because I know there's a lot of fans that sometimes after, and we spoke about this before with Tibbs being stuck in his ways. He has an old school version of how he coaches, and it makes you wonder sometimes, like if the Knicks got a different head coach, would it apply like how we see with Boston? Would it apply like how you see with Cleveland and their coaches and how the players buy into the system?
Yeah.
There's
E-
changes made. There's you know what I mean? It's more organic. The rotations are clean. It's better. There's a better trust system there. Would that apply for the Knicks? It just makes you wonder.
to me, it does make you wonder because and Detroit's another prime example. These cats won like 8 in a row. So and just the thing, Bickerstaff was the coach for Cleveland, but he wasn't the coach for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you a job. You know that wasn't if you did or you going on the interview that wasn't the job for you. You know what I'm saying? So he Houston's the same way. You know, you get these guys to buy into your system, and for whatever reason, I don't. The Knicks, I don't think that they buying into it because if you were, then you wouldn't be. That's how I'm looking at it because you a coach shouldn't have to tell you to play defense. That should be
Right.
natural born instinct. You learned that. You've been in this. You're professionals. All you most of these guys went to college, even international players. That's something that's embedded in you. So I think you know maybe they perhaps will respond under not 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 so much as respond because all coaches are different. You know they run different the schemes and X, Y, and Z. So you know maybe it is time. Not now because you let them ride out for the season. Not now, but I'm just saying
Right.
going forward. You know, let's see. You know what can be the outcome with that. I don't know, but yeah, Tibbs is
Yeah.
stuck in his ways, and it's like so regimented. Like you know, maybe.
Yeah. Shout out to Corey Lee. I'll fix my face when the Knicks start being more consistent.
Yeah.
No, I'll fix it when the Knicks start being more consistent and less frustrating. Because this should be a fun ride. And to all you guys in the chat who are saying the Knicks have the best record they've had and God knows how many years under Tibbs, I'm not disagreeing with you. But I think the counter that I have to that is that the Knicks should be projecting in the upward direction. They should be gaining more wins. I was the first one to say it. I had the Knicks at 58 wins this season. Cause to me, it's like we gotta stop giving them little baby increments to get better.
Setting.
Right? I'm not expecting a miracle overnight, but like if they won 50 last year and we're like, oh, they'll do 52, 53. Like, no, let's raise the bar a little bit more. Let's
Yeah.
have a higher expectation for this team, just like we don't the goal is for them to get past the second round. I'm not counting this team out. They may be a completely different team having Mitchell Robinson. Maybe they'll have this newfound energy on the team. But I think that yes, this team needs to be held to a standard and not just like, okay, well, yeah, we've been waiting long enough. And the front office, I commend them. They've been doing what they need to do to make the changes. And Tibbs has the tools to work with. You have the players to work with, so you can't use that as an excuse. Do we have all the players in place? No, but this team, and I'm all for, as Viva Locks alluded to, it does take championship teams time to win, right? But I get that we have to be patient. We have no other choice but to be patient. But what I want to see is better effort. You can't argue with that. You, as a team, you can get better effort on a consistent basis.
Yeah, for
Look at
sure.
Detroit, for example. Those guys are playing their butts off, playing with heart, and they was playing horrible, horrible. Damn near like the Knicks when they used to get booed at MSG. So what I'm saying is that I want to see the Knicks have better heart, have some more heart, have better effort when you go out on a night in, game out basis. You can't allow a team, I don't care if it's Detroit, I don't care if it's Charlotte, Atlanta, and just dog you and blow you by 30, 40, and score almost 200 points. Come on.
Yeah, I
You're supposed to
agree.
be the New York Knicks. You got to be grittier than that. You're
Yeah.
playing in a professional league getting paid millions of dollars. Put some more effort out there. You can't be for real. You got to put more effort out there. And again, like I said at the top of this show, you get Mitchell Robinson back, Mitch is going to make a difference. There's no questioning about that. But what about the other four guys that's going to be on the floor with Mitch? Effort is what I want to see. I don't want to see him having to work all hard to get a second, third chance opportunity, and then the effort's not there. The hustle plays are not there. The basketball IQ is not there.
No, I agree because now I'm gonna get. That's why I said when I mentioned Detroit, and this is a question that's posed to you. Now the Knicks are currently third, right? And Detroit is currently sixth. Which if the Bucks win, they could possibly go into fifth. But hypothetically, if they're in sixth, if the players were to start today, how confident in you that the Knicks will get past Detroit? Because they're three now. Knicks is three, and Detroit is six. And mind you, they lost to them two times already.
Right. Yeah. And for some reason, Cade is one of those players the Knicks can't seem to contain.
This
Right.
guy,
There's always that
but
one player
yeah,
on opposing team that the Knicks they struggle with and can't contain. I'm gonna say out of 10, I'm gonna say a 8 or 8.5 out of 10 that the Knicks can
yeah.
beat them in a playoff series. And the only reason why I say that is because I feel like if the playoffs started today and the Knicks had to face off against Detroit, I think the series would be kind of like when the Knicks played last year in round one against the Sixers. I think it would be gritty, a back and forth. I think Detroit would hand the Knicks at least a beating once or twice in the round, and the Knicks would
Oh
take
yeah,
advantage. But I don't think that it would be a cakewalk, or I don't think that it would be like, how when the Knicks played Cleveland and it was just like the Knicks just had their number. I don't know. And again, we haven't seen Mitchell Robinson on the floor with them, so that is a difference factor there. But Mitchell Robinson there or not, this is a team that the Knicks have struggled against, just like Chicago, right? So I don't know. I don't think that the Knicks will lose. I think the Knicks would definitely beat Detroit if we played them if the playoffs started today. But I don't think that it would be a cakewalk. I don't think the Knicks would just easily, be up 3 games to nothing. No, no. And I think that they're one of those teams that the Knicks have to figure out how do you contain them? How do you beat them? And a big part of that is the defense.
yeah. I agree. I mean, I don't. Yeah, they're definitely not gonna sweep them, and Detroit's definitely not gonna roll over. They're gonna put up a fight. I think it will be that type of series like a Philly series, um, because we all know the players is a different animal. Guys amp up, they turn up. Not that Detroit won't, but it just sometimes it brings the best out of the players. So,
Hmm.
but I think it'll be. I even think that it possibly will go down to a 7 game. Like
Yeah, same.
the way Malik Beasley, the way he's shooting lights out from three,
Yeah, and then
K,
they still guard the perimeter.
and that's another thing. K's playing for Supermax. He's looking to get that Supermax. So, and not that's a reason why, but this guy, man, he's balling. I
Yeah,
mean, so I just figure I throw that out. I just think it won't be a easy series for the
yeah,
Knicks. So
yeah, same. Shout out to Old Head. He said, "This is Tibbs' first season with this injured roster, and we want to get rid of him." For who? Tibbs, for one, this is his first season with this particular roster, and the Knicks have had injury woes, right? Injuries are going to happen no matter what roster you have. My thing with Tibbs is Tibbs has improved that he can be a head coach and take his team all the way there and win a championship. Tibbs hasn't proven that yet. Tibbs is a coach who he can go in and he's like that position that restaurant chains have. They fly them out to all the different locations to clean it up, training, get it back up to par. Bad reviews is ghetto. Nobody want to go there. And corporate is like, go out there, get it together. That's what Tibbs do. When Tibbs goes to teams, he brings them from the ground to a higher level. He makes them better teams with better records. They become a more cohesive team. That's what Tibbs is known as in his tenure with the NBA. But he hasn't proven yet that he's won a championship yet with a team. Do I think it's possible with the Knicks with the right pieces in place? Yeah. But I think that sometimes with Tibbs, I'm not for getting rid of Tibbs. I'm saying Tibbs, the pressure's on him just like it is on the team and the players as well, right? Because the front office is like, we have to move and we're not rushing, but we need to keep moving in an upward direction. We can't go backwards. So there's that pressure from the front office to keep moving forward and keep moving in a forward trajectory with this team. But I think that with Tibbs, sometimes you question his motives and the things that he does. Like if we're up by 25 and there's 5-6 minutes left in the fourth quarter and you still got Jalen Brunson in and Carl Anthony Towns. Why?
Yeah.
And this is what I mean with the old school mentality. So I'm not for firing Tibbs. I wanted Tibbs to prove himself, and he's proven himself and made this team better along with the front office, because it's not just Tibbs, it's the front office making the moves to give him the right players to make the moves that he needs to make, to be able to say, well, I can do it, but you got to give me the right guys to be able to make the moves. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that
Did you hear? I got another question for you. Um, Perk went on NBA. What was that? ESPN. Did you hear about what he said about with Josh and Brunson? Because Paul George, he's putting the podcasting away for the season because
right.
he wants to bring them to a championship. But somebody say you're like 40 games too late. But anyway, so Perk says the same thing with Hart and Brunson, that they need to put the podcast to the side and make the main thing the main thing. What's your take on that? And I'm gonna give you my take on it.
I don't know. I think that players, when they have podcasts, some people, I guess they could juggle it, but I don't know. I think if you playing, like, you do got to put it to the side during the season, because a podcast is like a job in itself. Yeah, they have people in the background, but you have to be able to show up, be able to be ready to interview. They have guests a lot of times on their show. So I feel like all the commentary that they have about, like, prime example, the reading the quote of what both Josh Hart and Brunson said about them losing to the top elite teams. Like, save that for after the season. You know what I mean? Vent about that in the off season during the summer before, maybe in preseason. But once the season starts, I think that, I don't know. I feel like, especially because where the Knicks are trying to go, just put it to the side. Just temporarily put it to the side, or let the other guy who'll be on there with them. I don't know. I mean, he's a roommate. You part of the show, so let him do it, and I don't know, figure it out. I mean, I wonder that with Angel Reese, if she's gonna be doing hers during the WNBA season, because I know she still does it during the Unrivaled, and I'm kind of like, I mean, just focus on basketball. I'm not saying you can't do both, but just shelve it for now and then come back to it.
See, now I feel, you know, I feel different because I don't think the podcasting is the issue. One maybe one of it, but it's minute. The issue with the Knicks, they're lacking size, depth. Even sometimes you could question their cohesiveness. Like,
Mhm.
you could even question that. And they lacking that. And for me, I think they lacking that killer instinct.
Yeah.
They had it. Even like last season, like, even with, as much as Randall was that ball hog, and like, he was down low. He was banging with the best of them. I mean, even DiVincenzo, as much, he was streaky, but when he was on, and he led them in a 3 point. Like that season, he was here. So I don't know. I think the Knicks are just, they lacking like that, and
That
that was that.
toughness.
Yeah, and that was a
And that
question I
those gritty
had.
guys, because that's true. DiVincenzo and Hartenstein, they were gritty. They were
Yeah.
scrappy. And
So
really the only player they have now that does that is Hart.
yeah, exactly. So I don't think the podcasting is the issue. I think that they're lacking those things. And that was my question I was going to ask you. Do you think that the Knicks are lacking that killer instinct and that guy,
For
which is,
sure.
yeah. So that's my take on it. The podcast is not the issue. They got to get it together defensively, because they're up there offensively. They're third.
Hmm.
So the offense is clicking, aside from when they have those little collapse, but they somehow they find a way and they grit it out to a W. But it's the defense, man. They just can't get it together. They're 21st. Their
Right.
defensive rating. So like, and we all know offense win games, but defense wins championships. And if you don't have
Exactly.
that there, how are you gonna, hoist that trophy up? So
Right. Yeah, I agree. Corey, shout out to Corey Lee from the 718 Boys. It's been a long time, Corey.
Yes, ma'am. Happy. Nah, see your face is fixed. You stop. Nah, that's my buddy. She know I like to tease her. How you doing, Madam Locks?
what's up, Corby Lee? 718.
Not much.
What's up?
Not much, ladies. I just want to say something, and I'm not gonna hold you up because I gotta meet my oldest daughter for her birthday.
A happy birthday to it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I want to say this. Shout out to my man Dave Smith. And ain't no shot at you, bro. My thing is, Nick fans, if we're gonna put this out here, we need a new coach. We need this. We need that. We need to find replacements for these people. We cannot just shoot something out there to the stars and just pray that Jesus Christ and Nikes and a dry erase board is gonna come down and coach our team. I say that in jest, but I mean that is serious. You know, it's not, the front office is going to deal with what they got. And if you don't, I mean, I understand you may not like his ways. He might be rigid. You know what I'm saying? He's bald headed. He's pasty looking. He's funny looking. You don't like the way his mustache grows. Who cares? We are in a much better position than we were last year. Now, when we're picking on the captain, listen, the captain's dealing with what the captain's got to deal with. Unfortunately, it's the way the scheme's set up, and Tibbs is not going to get away from that scheme because that scheme's kept us successful for how long? 6, 7 seasons. He's gonna do it, and I promise you this: for as much as y'all think Mitchell Robinson is not going to be anything, you're going to realize what his worth is this year in this playoff season coming up. You know, there was a reason why they held him out so long. Because if you don't realize, the doctors that we got that we what do you say, poached from Dallas after they switched ownership is because that doctor, and he helped save Dirk Nowitzki's career. If y'all don't know that, he is trying to make sure this man is totally, totally healed. You know, if y'all don't remember last season, a damn near 300-pound man ripped his foot from his body while he was jumping in midair. Think about that. And he came back hurt. He was already hurt. He came back hurt. You know, just think about that. You know, before y'all just start here. And you know, like they say, where I come from, you know, I'd rather be thought of a fool and open up my mouth and remove all doubt. You know, I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying nobody in the chat is perfect. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Lady and Chef, she might be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Diva Locks, I know she's perfect.
Nah.
But you know, I'm just teasing. But seriously though, you know, just keep that in mind. And you gotta keep a more positive thing. You know, to be honest with you, you know what Tibbs is doing? And if y'all don't sit down and listen to him, he's using these games to prepare these men for the playoffs. I don't even think he cares about the regular season anymore right now. He's no we're in a good situation so we'll be all right, you know. And don't worry about the Detroits and all these young hungry teams because they haven't done flip in the playoffs yet. All these young teams have not done a flipping thing. So with that said, eh, take a breather, relax. If you know what I'm saying, sip back a Heineken or a Corona or whatever it is, or even drink a bottle of water. Do something, but just chill out.
But Corey, you saying that these teams haven't done anything yet. When we got to the second round last year against Indiana, they proved that they was able to do something against the Knicks. Granted, we had health issues, right?
I'm about to say that. Come on now.
I know it's coming. They had health issues. The Knicks go into the playoffs this season healthy with a healthy roster. And I keep saying this, and I'm sure you heard me saying it throughout the show. You get Mitchell Robinson back, who is going to be a difference maker and a huge factor. But what about those other four guys, five guys who's going to be playing at times on the floor with Mitch? Where do you get that effort from when you do get to the playoffs and you play against a Milwaukee, you play against Indiana, you play against a Detroit? How do the Knicks be prepared to play against those teams?
Uh,
I'm not worried about the Knicks offensively. It's their defense that the collapses that hurt them, that are a pain point.
can I answer the question now?
Go ahead.
I must say this. Listen, Mitchell Robinson, he's a hell of a communicator. Much better communicator than that person sitting out there now. That you already know he does not make he makes New York a no fly zone. Just off the intimidation factor alone. And I dare anybody to try him this upcoming this next coming not I'm not saying like I give him 10 days, 10 games. But after that, you should be pretty much in shape or ready to go. I dare anybody to try him. I'm seriously try him. Because I believe I think it was in the Philly game, one of these cats went up and tried him and tried him, and even on a bad foot, he sent them back away. See, my point is that he allows these cats to either one funnel them into him, two he allows these cats to put more pressure on the ball because they're so worried about coming back and having to help out. You understand what I'm saying? So just you watch and see. Watch and see. And if I'm wrong, believe me, I'll come up on your show and say, you know what, America, I was a fool and I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? But but I'm so confident that I doubt it. But I'm not saying that it's gonna happen that way. Tibbs always comes up with a great game plan constantly, and we're always prepared. We just got to get one certain type of player in the understanding that their defense is truly needed. to some degree, and I understand that they're not the greatest defensive player, and that's why they were lined up with certain type of players, even through college and even in their NBA career, to be
Right.
successful. So, and I'm not calling nobody out, because I believe in the whole all 19 of these cats.
Got it.
Well, we'll
Got to stay.
see.
You got to stay and remain positive.
No, but
I,
I said that
I'm not
about,
saying you not. I'm not saying you aren't.
and I am positive because I believe
I
in
believe. I believe. No, 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 girl. Come on now. High five. We together.
man.
I don't know about the one all the way to the left of my screen there some days. the one,
yeah.
the one that mama look like you come home from school. Why you get a C? You should have had an A. Didn't we go over this all last night? You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
and
Holding
she,
that leather strap.
but you know what? It's not gonna always be roses when you talk about the Knicks.
Of
Because,
course not.
you
I don't
know,
think it is neither. Yo, you think I was happy when I saw that Boston game? Or not even that, the Cleveland game.
Hmm.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't think I was, what was I doing? Um, my youngest son, he just got married and he's about to have a baby. So I'm running around buying everything. I'm running from Sam's Club all over the place, buying all kind of stuff, buying stuff because we having a baby shower at my house that Saturday. So I'm sitting there watching it. I'm sitting there trying to watch the game in my car, drive around all over the place. And I'm just saying to myself, man, what I'm saying? I'm truly disappointed just like everybody else. But
yeah.
I you would think there would be a better effort. But these are certain type of players. You know, I'm not gonna say that.
But that's what Lady and the Chef was saying. It's the effort,
And,
you know.
and it's not no, but it pretty much boils down to I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. If we was off camera, we'd have a different conversation. But for the Knicks fans, I won't do that. You know, but I will say this though, and Tibbs, I trust he's gonna find a way to get these guys prepared mentally, and he's gonna make the right adjustments when necessary in certain situations, because there's gonna be a point where you're gonna start seeing certain things change and move around, and you're gonna be scratching your head saying, "Huh?" But we're gonna walk away with the victory.
I look forward to that day.
Same here.
I do. I'm holding you to what you said, and
I
I'm.
know you will. I know, yo, your mind's like a steel trap, and you will spit it back to me verbatim. I know you will. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm not scared to say what I gotta say.
Yeah, and I love your confidence. Listen, I'm not giving up on this next team. I think I'm more very critical of the team because for me, I'm just like put the effort in, but have the valid communication. Communication can just come from one guy. You know
No,
what I
no,
mean?
and I think, and also too, I think, over a period of time, a starter's gonna move back to the bench, and
And who do you think that's gonna be?
Josh.
I mean, we'll see, we'll see. I'm not naming no names. I'm not putting
Well, I
it out
just
there. I'm telling you, it's safe to assume that you all can guess it.
You
You
said
know.
Josh Stevelocks.
I said Josh.
Oh well, I think somebody cooking with Crisco over there. Can I get a piece of chicken?
I don't know.
But
I'm just
I'm
guessing.
just that's in my opinion now.
Oh,
That's my opinion because from what I heard, certain things gonna have to. It's gonna be a change, and I know some people gonna be like, "Oh my God, why would we make this change?" Because we're gonna probably have to possibly make this change, and Josh Hart's gonna bring a lot more to the bench, help the bench out a lot more. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Considering what the situation, the bench needs life. It needs somebody to give it that oomph. You know what I'm saying? Like, wake the hell up, y'all! Y'all over here sleepwalking. Certain players play good with certain players play good together. Certain players just don't.
oh yeah, for
Just
sure.
can't cut the mustard, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. The bench definitely needs some energy, some rejuvenation for sure. Because it's just
Exactly.
it's a bit lifeless. I do agree with you on that. We'll see. We'll see. I look forward to chatting with you more to discuss more about the Knicks.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully Sunday, Bully will be back and then we able to do our thing because unfortunately he had a situation and then I'm not flying without my wingman. So
Right. Of course.
For
you know what I'm
sure.
saying. You know how we get down. I would be I would be boring without him. but still though, but still though. Thank y'all for allowing me to come up here. I'm always checking y'all out. Most of the time, I'm just sitting in the background. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see y'all do your thing, and I like how y'all growing. You know what I'm saying? This one over here with the mean mug boy, she be killing me some
What?
days. But still, still though, y'all are great. I like y'all. So I love y'all. What you say? And I look forward to seeing y'all again soon when y'all pop back up. Thank you again, ladies.
Coming on.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate you.
All right, later.
Have a good night.
Later.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, shout out to Corey Lee and Boulevard from 718 Boys. Listen, Corey's also a huge Mitch fan, and I've had these conversations with Eb. Shout out to Ebony from Nick of Time. Also a huge New York Liberty fan. She's still been rocking and doing her thing as well. In the Mitch Hive, I think even as separately aside from the Mitch Hive, they feel like that, and I'm not disagreeing with them as far as what he's gonna do. I think I'm looking more at the long term and just I already said it's going to take Mitch some time to get his bearings and get his footing, and Corey just touched on that as well. So yeah, I just listen. The Knicks last, what was it? The last, I think it was, yeah. Then well, this year they're number 3 seed. Of course, we know in the East, um, and their offense is ranked number 3. So again, like I've said, the offense is not an issue. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
But their defense is ranked 20th. They're 20th.
Yep.
So they ranked first on the front court last year, and then 2 years ago they was in second. This year they're 11th. So it shows you that yes, they do need Mitchell Robinson. I'm not questioning that. And Mitchell Robinson is expected to, per Ian Begley, to return either against on Friday against Memphis or Sunday against Miami. So I'm looking forward to seeing Mitch in the lineup and seeing what he can do. And you know, um, I don't know. I mean, how you feeling about Mitch coming back?
I'm like you, and a lot of other Nick fans excited, wait to see what and it's gonna be a slow, integration. We're not looking for him to, bounce off the walls, but and it's gonna take a few games, under his belt,
Mm-hmm.
but it's gonna be refreshing just to see him out there because you know what he's been through overall, first and foremost, and the injury that he sustained. So it's just gonna be like nice just to see him out there with the guys, because as a player, you always want to be out there, you know,
Right.
and you wanna help, and knowing that you can't, that's the part that gets a player. But I'm just like, you know, a few games in, I knock off that rust and just let them roll, let them rock and roll.
Yeah, for sure. With Ariel Hukporty suffered a torn, I believe it's meniscus in his left knee.
Yeah.
How does that play out for the Knicks now? Like, are you expecting to see Mitchell Robinson's minutes kind of gradually go up a bit sooner than you would have thought they would have? Because I'm not sure what's the deal with Towns and him not being there. And then now you relying on Precious, who's going to be playing a good amount of minutes. So how does that affect? And that sucks because we've been wanting to see him get the minutes. And I know he would be a huge factor with the Knicks as well. We wanted to see him make the mistakes and continue to grow. So to you, how does that affect the Knicks moving forward with Huck Porty out now?
I don't. It's not gonna be a huge, I don't, loss. He only
Yeah,
started
no.
because he was in for Cat, so it's not
But
like
he was a filler. He was a filler, like to come in when, I mean, granted, Tibbs didn't utilize him and fill him in
exactly. So
much.
we're not gonna. It's not. I don't want to say it's not gonna be a huge loss, for the most part, because like you say he was a filler and he got his first start again because Cat was out, but prior to that, he was relegated to the bench. It's not like we were relying on him heavily.
Hmm.
So I don't think it's gonna be much of a loss. I don't think I know it won't be much of a loss. And it's what is this? They say it's what 4 to 6 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
So just heal and you never know. He may be utilized down a stretch somewhere. When we close
Yeah.
some of those games, but just speedy recovery to him.
Yeah. Same. Knicks would like to see him play next year for sure. And who knows if he can give us something off the bench, maybe in the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I do know that the Grizzlies are going to look to get revenge on the Knicks,
Oh,
who gave them a beating the first matchup that they played. That was actually Memphis' worst loss of the season. They lost by 37 to the Knicks.
yeah, and they have Ja to like what 10 points.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a low for him.
yeah, exactly. Um, both teams pretty much have the same record at 38 and 20. And Memphis is coming off. I think they won their last game in overtime. Um, and I believe they had all three guys like with 25. But I was just reading that Desmond Bain has groin soreness. So I think he's questionable for tomorrow's game. So we'll see what happens with that. Because you know how when teams play against the Knicks, all of a sudden players are magically healed and they're
Yeah,
ready to play. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, shout out to Mitch coming back. Listen, the Knicks are sitting in third. They're 38 and 20. Indiana's right behind them at 33 and 24. Milwaukee's in fifth at 32 and 25. And Detroit is in sixth at 33 and 26. And Detroit's also on an 8 game win streak, along with Cleveland on an 8 game win streak. So, it's going to be very interesting as the regular season comes to a close, which teams stay where. I'm confident the Knicks can stay in third. They just have to build up some wins, consistent wins. They play tomorrow at 8. This is a road game. Then they play on Sunday in Miami. And then they're back home on Tuesday against the Warriors. That should be a goodie, um, being that they've somehow been playing well ever since they got Jimmy Butler. And then after that, the Knicks start their West Coast road trip. They'll be playing LA, Clippers, the Kings, Portland, a rematch against the Warriors, and then they'll finally be back home March 17th for a game. So the Knicks have a lot of road games coming up. But March is going to be an interesting month for the Knicks for sure. Um, Let me get your predictions for. We'll do it for this weekend actually because yeah, the Knicks don't play again till
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So your predictions for this week,
I
tomorrow against Memphis, and then Sunday against Miami.
I'm gonna go 2-0. I know that's a revenge game for Memphis, but and then again I'm like I'm kind of torn because with Mitch coming back, like I'm still gonna go 2-0.
Okay. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to see. Yeah, we did beat Miami the last time you played them. I'm gonna rock with you, and I'm gonna go 2-0 as well. I think we need to start building some more wins, get back in that winning column and build some more wins up. So yeah, I'm definitely looking for the Knicks to tighten up defensively. I'm looking forward to seeing what Mitchell Robinson comes back and what he does for this team, and moving forward past that. So yeah, I'm. Let's see, let's see. David Smith said the Pistons. Going back to your question you asked me earlier, he said the Pistons could beat us in round one. Interesting, very interesting. It's possible, but I think the Knicks will beat them. But I do think, like Diva Lock said, it would go to a game seven.
Yeah, I believe they're gonna put up a fight, but I don't know. I think the Knicks will come out, on top, the victor, because it'll just turn them into, like, it heightens it, for the most part. So, but I just pose that question because they right there 3-6, and the Knicks did struggle, you know, with them. But I think the Knicks will definitely come out on top and take that series.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Old Head. He said we need to sign another big, Christian Wood maybe, in case Cat needs a day off or another big gets hurt. Yeah, and I've said this plenty of times. I really hope that the Knicks coaching staff, front office learned from last year when we had a serious injury problem and we didn't have significant backups. We had to shift, do the old shifteroo, and guys had to play out of positioning. Partly in what you've been saying earlier, guys have been playing out of positioning, and the Knicks have to have those solid backups. Because okay, you don't have Huck Porty. Granted, he didn't play a lot of minutes. It falls on Precious Achua, but you have to have backups. Like we got lucky last year that Brunson stayed healthy for the whole season. He didn't suffer that injury till round two of the playoffs, and that was late in the playoffs. So yeah, I agree. I think we do need another big. And hell, I think you need to figure out another guy to handle the ball. If yeah, you got Payne, but when Brunson was on that bench yesterday, the offense is very stagnant. Very stagnant. There's nothing happening. And Tibbs, I was surprised had Brunson on that bench for a while yesterday. But
Yeah,
I noticed when he's getting a breather, you know, and I'll see at point times where campaign will like drive but even sometimes when he drives, he's missing easy layups. If you want to drive, drive.
yeah,
You can't miss it easy. He'll do like a nice move where it's a tough, he has to arc the ball really high up off the backboard and he misses it. And I'm like, you can't do that. You got to make those layups. So I don't know. I think that, the Knicks have to be prepared if you do have a man down situation and you have injuries. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm with you, Diva Locks. I got the Knicks 2-0 for this weekend. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll be tuned into the games per usual. I'll be flipping back and forth tomorrow because Unrivaled starts their postseason, and that's been good. So I know it's gonna turn up. And then yeah, I'll be having both games on at the same time. So shout out to the chat for joining us. You guys were definitely live today. I love it. I love it. Thank you all for joining us today. Hit them up, NYNJ, Just Knicks, Wonder Woman, Corey Lee from the 718 Boys. Show them some love on their channel. They come on every Sunday morning. They should be back in full effect. Old Head, always joining us. David Smith, same thing. Salute to you as well. MBM, salute to you. I know I saw Rondu 1973 in here. Shout out to you as well. Space Ghost, salute to you as well. And Kenneth Hatcher had some really good comments as well. Shout out to you, Kenneth. He said, no more dogs. No lies told there. And I think I got everybody. There's a few people I haven't seen in the chat who's normally here, like Eddie C. But I'm sure they watch on a replay gang. And shout out to the replay gang for those of you who do go out and watch the videos. Do us a favor, hit the like button. If you are not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great Friday tomorrow and a safe, blessed weekend. And as Diva Locks always says, let's go Knicks. Anything else for you before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm like you. I'm gonna be going back and forth watching both games. So
Yeah, because Unrivaled is getting down to the wire. So it's like I gotta watch both. So, split screen. But yeah, and those of you who don't know, check out Unrivaled if you haven't already. It's actually really good basketball, 3-on-3 basketball. But until next time,